Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today is Wednesday, October 3rd, and we're gonna be going through a lot of polling data from today. So I just made a video about Tuesday, October 2nd's polls. I pretty much covered everything here, but there's also a lot here that we are probably going to miss, and a lot of people are probably going to skip over a number of these polls because they don't find them to be too helpful to the outcome of the 2018 election race. I mean, pretty much they are polling in states like New York and states like New Jersey, which typically wouldn't be too contested. New York, not so much, but also if we look in areas like New Jersey, those are a little bit more contested than people really expected. So overall, we're going to start off with the Arizona Senate race and finish off with the direction of the country poll from I believe Reuters and the Economist YouGov poll for the direction of the country. So right now, we're going to start off. And the reason why these polls are pretty significant, I mean, just look at the numbers. We're seeing double-digit leads for Republicans where Democrats led before, and leads for Democrats in areas where they were down in single digits before, and pretty consistent polls with the same ones that were taken yesterday. So overall, very similar numbers to what we saw yesterday in yesterday's polling batch. And what we've been seeing before, but it's just very interesting to cover at this point. So we'll start off in the state of Arizona. This is a very contested Senate race because it's between a Republican and Democrat in a toss-up race from 2016 and now 2018. There's currently a Republican incumbent, so this is an area where the Democrats think they have a great shot in. Right now, the most recent poll from Suffolk shows Sinema leading by 3%, but it also leaves the possibility of many undecided voters. You add 8 from McSally to 50, then 5 from Sinema, total of 13% of undecided voters. So if we look on the state itself, after the primary, McSally led by 1%, then by 3%, and then after that, Sinema started leading again like she led before. We're probably not going to see Sinema lead by 11%, but CNN showed her at +7, Emerson showed +6, NBC News shows +3, and now a new Fox News poll that actually is going to be dropped tomorrow that we'll talk about tomorrow, not today, because it is a poll covering Thursday, and there's still polls that can come out. I don't want to cover that right now. So we'll start off with the state of Arizona, which pretty much is showing good news for the Democratic Party. We really don't see Democrats lead in typically conservative states, but Arizona is an exception. I mean, Kyrsten Sinema has done very well since the beginning of the 2018 election season. No reason why she shouldn't at the end. But again, a lot can happen, especially with October surprises. 2016 told us anything. A lot can change in the last 2 weeks of a presidential election or midterm election. So that pretty much covers our Arizona generalization. Good news for the Democrats. In the New Jersey Senate race, 2 new polls actually, one from Farley Dickinson and then one from Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac actually being a little bit more lenient to Bob Menendez. So this race has actually moved from leaning Democratic to toss-up. So before, safe, likely, leaning, and now toss-up. So obviously this race a lot more contested than you might expect. This is New Jersey. This is Democratic territory, but Bob Menendez is so unpopular, this race has moved back into the toss-up column. So New Jersey voters aren't too partisan. I mean, they have elected Republicans before, Chris Christie, to name one of them. But Bob Menendez leading by 11% in a Quinnipiac poll definitely shows good news, because the reason why this race was moved to the toss-up column is because there was a poll taken that showed him leading by 2%. In fact, actually, before I made this video, it showed it in the toss-up column. I believe it has moved. Yes, as you can see right here, it has moved back into the leaning Democratic column. So it was in the toss-up column. It is now in the leaning Democratic column, so that adds one more to the Democratic column in total. But he leads by 11% and then by 6%. Absolutely good numbers for the Democrats that before could have been a super close race. So New Jersey and Arizona have been covered. We can move over to the New York Senate race. Not much to see there. Kirsten Gillibrand, just probably they're only polling this because they want to see, just because it's New York Times territory. They just want to see how Gillibrand is doing, and obviously no surprise here. 32% lead for the Democrat in the state of New York. They may also be polling here just to see how a presidential bid may go with someone like Kirsten Gillibrand being popular in her home state, leading into the 2020 general election being a quote-unquote scandal-free Hillary Clinton. But right now, Kirsten Gillibrand leading by 32%. Pretty good numbers, but obviously not that contested of a race whatsoever. So that covers all of our Senate races. Good news for Democrats in all of them. Arizona shows the Democrat leading by 3. New Jersey shows the Democrat leading by 11, then 6%. And then New Jersey shows the Democrat leading by 32%. So now we can move over into our governor races. We have Arizona, Florida, and New York. And then we have a couple of House races. And then we have President Trump's job approval rating. And then we have the 2018 generic congressional vote from a number of pollsters. And then congressional job approval rating and the direction of the country. So, first of all, huge surprise out of the state of Arizona. Doug Ducey leads by 12%. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because before, David Garcia actually led in a poll. So this one is currently a leaning GOP state, but if we look at the first poll ever taken, Garcia led by 1%, and it was done by Gravis, so it's not too inaccurate. Yes, it was taken all the way back in June, but there are less undecided voters then than there pretty much are now in terms of Garcia's voting base. So there's a Fox News poll that shows him leading by 18%, but again, I want to cover that tomorrow because a lot more data there. But Garcia gets 38% of the vote here. He gets 42% in the first poll taken. So obviously losing voters, and then Doug Ducey gaining in voters, going from 41% all the way to 50 with a net gain of plus 12. So again, we're disregarding the plus 18 for right now, just going with the plus 12 that we see, and it's still not too bad. I mean, anyone would be fine winning by 12% in their election, which pretty much means that it was pretty solid of a race. It wasn't too close. It wasn't too much, but definitely shows a little bit of contention between the Democrats and Republicans, but it's very interesting seeing how a Democrat can win the Senate race, but they lose in the governor race, or the GOP win in the governor race and win in the Senate race, but the Senate race is a lot closer, like possibly 10% closer. So margins do matter. The same ballot may cause issues in terms of how they're going to vote, because some people may be more inclined to vote for a GOP candidate if they're voting for a GOP governor, or a Democratic candidate if they're voting for a Democratic senator, whatever. However that may be, it definitely could impact the ballot itself, but we'll see when we get there. So the Arizona governor race probably moving into the more likely, possibly even safe GOP column by the end of 2018. For the Florida governor race, a poll from yesterday showed Andrew Gillum leading by 1%. He has since been campaigning with Hillary Clinton, so obviously it's not working in his favor. Whether or not this is correlated with it, it just so happens as soon as you step foot into a, I guess, rally type arena with Hillary Clinton in a state that she didn't carry, that she's still not popular in, the president's popular in, the Republican governor's popular in, yeah, your numbers are going to drop. But right now, this could be two outliers. But if we start seeing consistent data that shows Andrew Gillum behind, or possibly only leading by 1%, this race definitely could get a lot closer than previously expected, because he was leading 4, 5, 6, even 7% statewide. It has since gone down to 1% yesterday, and now 1% again from Mason Dixon. So very interesting results. In the New York governor race, Andrew Cuomo leads by 18%. So he easily won the Democratic primary there. Not many Democratic voters are moving to the Republican side. It just seems like, it may seem like that based off the numbers itself, but also keep in mind that Kirsten Gillibrand is probably not going to win with 61%. She'll probably get around Andrew Cuomo's margin just based off the overall excitement, and it also could be just the lack of participation in the race, because keep in mind, if someone doesn't participate in a race, the Republicans will likely move up, because this is a Democratic state. So let's take Mississippi or Alabama, for example. If enough Republicans exit out of the race and say they're not voting, the Democrats definitely have a much better chance at winning there. I'm not saying New York has even the slightest possibility of going towards the Republicans, but it's definitely going to be a little bit better for the GOP than the New York Senate race, and that's not saying much, meaning they could get 38% compared to 29%. But this could be Democratic primary, or just Andrew Cuomo not being too popular compared to the Senate race there. But overall, Democratic win, Democratic good news, not much to take away there from normally expected numbers. So the Arizona governor race, not too good for Democrats whatsoever. In fact, the GOP leading there with double digits, very good numbers for them. Florida governor race, Andrew Gillum definitely narrowing down, possibly because of Hillary Clinton, possibly because the primaries have been so far away. Whatever it may be, he has narrowed down, and that's something you can't really ignore. In the New York governor race, obviously good news for the Democrats, always lead in New York, so right now leading by 18%. Now we can move over into our three House districts: Pennsylvania 1st, Pennsylvania 10th, and then Minnesota 3rd. So in Pennsylvania 1st, the Republican leads by 4%. In the 10th district, the Republican leads by 1%. So in fact, let's click on these and see where they're getting their candidates from. So right now, the 1st district isn't too contested. It wasn't a contested race on any of the races from 2004 up. So obviously, it's a little bit more of a contested race. And now the Republican led by 1%, and now is leading by 4%. So it has improved, but still, leading by 4% when you're an incumbent isn't too comfortable. Over in the Pennsylvania 10th district, I don't see this one. Okay, so right here in 2008, it was contested. The Democrat, I'm assuming, won. It may have been a different district, to be completely honest with you. But a lot of contested races in 2018 in the state of Pennsylvania, the Republican only leading by 1%. So very interesting numbers there, to say the least. Now in the Minnesota 3rd district, Phillips leads Paulson by 5%. So New York Times showed 9% lead, and then the new poll, Survey USA poll, shows the Democrat leading by 5%. Is a leaning Democratic district, possibly a pickup for the Democrats. In fact, if it goes how it is rated now, it would be a pickup, which is very good for the Democrats, canceling out another GOP member of Congress from the state of Minnesota. And the President Trump job approval rating, we're just going to go through this fast. District plus 9, plus 12, plus 10, plus 1. One of these is not like the others, and that is, of course, Rasmussen reports. But when we get to the generic congressional vote, Democrats plus 5, plus 6, plus 12, plus 5, one of these is not like the other, and it's the Reuters poll. So right now, when we look at those numbers, Democrats plus 12 also showed the president a disapprove plus 12. So I guess you can say you can disregard both of those polls, but Economist/YouGov and NPR both showed disapprove plus 9 and disapprove plus 10 respectively, compared to the generic congressional vote, where Rasmussen pretty much agrees with both of them, because they show Democrats plus 5, Democrats plus 6, and Rasmussen shows Democrats leading by 5%. So a lot of people do like to flaunt Rasmussen's numbers in favor of the president. However, if you're going to say President Trump has a 49% approval rating, you must also admit on the same type of voting scale, the Democrats lead by 5%. So for some reason, the people who disapprove of the president and approve of him with 49% and disapprove by 50% also want to vote for Democrats 5% more than they want to vote for Republicans, which is very helpful for their generic congressional vote, generic ballot, whatever, when it comes down to vote totals. So very good numbers for the Democrats there. Their average, let's see what their average is right now. I believe it's 7.7, yes. So 7.7 for the Democrats there. In terms of the congressional job approval rating, nothing really changes. Always in the disapprove plus 50s. And then the direction of the country, again, not much to see there. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I will see you all tomorrow.